Today's countdown has a running back a lot of you either probably love or are ready to move on from.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. We'll talk about FanDuel in just a little bit. I want to thank you every day for being every day because you know what? You've made Locked On the number one sports podcast network there is, if you can believe it. I mean, that's hard to believe. So, Jimmy, we're going to start with your roster countdown today. We are in the throes of the offseason now. Super Bowl's over. We might talk about the Super Bowl in a minute. I don't know what else you can say other than it was pretty awful. But let's start with your roster countdown day. We're going to talk about Daniel Hill. And let me just throw in some stuff about Daniel Hill very quickly. I have been accused by some of our listeners of hyping up too many of our players at times. I hyped up Daniel Hill. I'm looking wrong right now. That's the only thing I can say. I'm looking wrong. I was so excited when he caught the big touchdown against Missouri. I thought he was really coming on. It may not be his fault, though. It may be the fault of the poor play on the offensive line. It may be poor scheme. It may be a lot of things. And so I'm willing to do that. But for now, I'm going to back off on my adoration for Daniel Hill until I see some more somehow, some way. And that is not to say I don't love him as a player and happy he's at Alabama. Of course I want him here. I think he's got all the potential in the world. But, you know, the comparison for him outside of some of the off-the-field stuff would have been for Jimmy Johns, if you ask me, sort of a do-it-all guy who you feel like can play a lot of different positions. And he could have been really good at any of them, maybe not excellent at any of them, from Mississippi, big dude, tremendous athlete, all those things. And right now on the field, he's having sort of the same kind of career where it was like, we see the potential. Something's got to happen, though, that we see the production.
Yeah, production is really the key, I think, in any discussion of Daniel Hill, because you do see things at times that get you pretty excited, particularly as a pass receiver. I do think that he's a very good pass receiver. He's got great hands. He has been fairly productive. He had 208 yards, I think, on roughly 20 catches this past season. As a pass receiver, is pretty interesting, especially at his size. But from the running back spot, running the ball, in 2 years of playing now, he came to Alabama, played immediately, got some carries, played a lot of special teams, but he got some carries as a freshman, and then this year played a significant role as part of the committee as to who was running back one. I mean, it was Jam sometimes, and it was Daniel sometimes. The production just hasn't been good enough. I mean, but put it this way, against East Carolina, if he rushed for about 55 yards on 5 carries, which, by the way, would be statistically one of his better games, 55 yards on 5 carries against East Carolina, that would put him dead at 100 carries, 400 yards in his time at Alabama. So he'd have to have one well above average game for himself just to get to exactly 4 yards a carry in his time at Alabama. And so that hasn't been good enough. Now, why isn't good enough? Well, some of it's on Daniel Hill and maybe a lack of SEC top-notch ability. That's fair. Another thing fair is to say the offensive line hasn't been good enough. Tight end blocking hasn't been good enough. Play calling hasn't been good enough. Scheme's not good enough. All of those things might be fair too. But in the end, it hasn't been good enough. Let me ask you this, Luke, and I think I know what the answer is going to be. I don't think Alabama's going to have a 1,000-yard back this fall. I don't think there's any back on the team that's going to rush for 1,000 yards. I don't think so. But if I told you right now that one running back on the team is going to rush for 1,000 yards this fall, who would you guess that it would be? But well, you're muted, so we don't know the guess.
I wanted to keep it a mystery.
I can guess who you. But so if
Well,
someone
first
rushes
of all,
for 1,000 yards, who do you think it would be?
EJ Crowell.
Okay. If it's not Crowell, who do you think it would be?
Phew.
Second choice to rush for 1,000 yards this fall.
Maybe Kevin Riley.
Not AK Deer. I mean, I would say AK Deer.
I'm going to tell you. Listen, for a guy
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen.
I know,
I think
but
he's the second most likely guy to do it.
I guess that's fair. And I did think of him, but at the same time, I was like, how did he never break in this year? Mm-hmm. And maybe things were so wonky this year, but Kevin Riley played a lot more than him this year.
Sure did.
It doesn't mean – I mean, I think AK Deer is fine. I'm not saying you're wrong. I would go EJ Crowell, honestly, number one. I really think I'm going to both say that I hype people too much and that I also think I'm right about this one. EJ Crowell is going to be a thing. Okay? I believe that. So I
guess my point being Daniel Hill is –
he's not my 1,000-yard choice.
To some extent, he's the returning running back. He's got the most experience. He's the oldest guy. And I think at best he would be the third most likely guy myself to rush for 1,000 yards, maybe fourth. I mean, first of all, it's not going to happen for any of them. I don't think it happened for Crowell either, because I think he would be part of a committee. I mean, he's likely not to get enough carries to have 1,000-yard type season, because I think he's going to be sharing time as a true freshman. Now it's going to happen for him at some point in his career at Alabama, I feel. But I think this fall what we're looking at is probably 2 or 3 backs, maybe 4, that combine for more production than what we had last year. That's kind of what I think is going to happen. But I still think it's going to be largely a committee approach. And who ends up with the most carries? I'm going to go Crowell for most carries and most yards. That's what I would guess today. It would be nice if Daniel Hill had some sort of huge leap forward. That would be great, because he brings so much to the table with his size and his experience. But I'm with you in the sense I've got to see that before I believe it. But maybe we're undervaluing him a bit. This is a guy that has made big plays in big games. He has done that. And there is something to that, as opposed to just wish casting that the guy you haven't seen is going to do those things. Sometimes that's true and sometimes it's not. But I'm with you. I'm glad Daniel Hill's going to be part of the mix. I've seen enough to want to see more, but I haven't seen enough to say, okay, he's the guy.
I think that's a great way to put it. We've had 2 years sample size, and I still don't know any more than I did when I started. And you want to talk about a funny thing? I just pulled it up. These are Daniel Hill's long runs per game. 7, 5, 5, 13, 11, 6, 28, 7, 9, 5, and 30. His 2 longest runs of the year were against arguably the best defense we played outside of Georgia, and that's Oklahoma. Now, you could throw Indiana in there if you want to. That's fine. But he had a 28-yarder against Oklahoma in Tuscaloosa and a 30-yarder against Oklahoma in Norman. But outside of the 30-yarder, he only had 43 yards in the game. So, I mean, this guy, he's just not going to be super explosive. He had a 13-yard carry against Tennessee. Fantastic. But that also sort of skewed his stats, because if you take that out, he had 6 carries for 21 yards. I mean,
when you lack burst, this is the way I look at it. And see if you agree. I think he lacks burst. When you do lack burst, what happens is you get hit early in the carry. Mm-hmm. And when you're getting hit early in the carry, you're probably getting hit by 290-pound or 300-pound defensive linemen and 230, 240-pound linebackers. That's who's hitting him early. At that point, it really doesn't matter a lot that he's big, because he's getting hit by big dudes. What matters a lot when you're big is when you're in the secondary. because those guys can't really get you to the ground, but you got to get to the secondary. And I think that's kind of been the issue with him. He hasn't had enough runs where he burst into the defensive backfield. Again, some of it's blocking, some of it, the contact is too early. But to me, in terms of just watching him play, I think the biggest issue is burst, and there's just not a lot of go now. I think once he gets up to top speed, it's pretty impressive at his size. But these super elite backs, Kenneth Walker, for instance, last night, Super Bowl MVP, dude shot out of a cannon. Now he's built completely differently than Daniel Hill. They look nothing alike. Can't even believe they play the same position. But Kenneth Walker is a good example of excellent burst. I mean, he takes the carry and he's at full speed quickly.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun to watch last night. It was weird seeing so many Alabama tie-ins last night in the Super Bowl, and we can talk about that a little later. Right now, though, I want to tell you about FanDuel. Look, I know football's over, but the winter games are officially here. And if you're anything like us, Jimmy and me, you're locking in for events you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years. That's why following the winter games on FanDuel just makes sense. From medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on the sports you care most about, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected and into the action. The drama of curling, for example. They start slow and then they finish fast. You know, all that sweeping that they do? It's nice. FanDuel keeps the entire Olympic experience engaging from start to finish. The winter games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with FanDuel, because with FanDuel, you can play your game every time. Only people who watch, who only everydayers know what the hell I was talking about just now.
It's like you speed read through the
speed read. So, by the way, speaking of everydayers, go join the Everydayer Club. It's a lot of fun. The Discord's gotten so much fun. LockedOnBama.com/Everydayer Club. LockedOnBama.com/Everydayer Club is $5 a month, or it is $50 for the year. And the Discord page is the real benefit to me, but you do get ad-free audio podcasts if you'd like them. So I just think it's worth it. Go check it out. We got the most people of any Everydayer Club locked on wide. So I mean, you got a bunch of like-minded people. Go join it. $5 a month, man. What are you talking about? And it's not like Jimmy and I get that $5, by the way. So just let
we're ranked number one. That's fun to be ranked one. Yeah, I did a little post on the Discord page this morning about Daniel Hill and other things, commenting on our memes that Garrett and Michael do to entertain the masses on there.
So there's an interesting rumor going around. And I've seen it less on Bama stuff and more on Auburn stuff. And it's almost like a Auburn stuff of, please God, don't let this happen. There's a rumor that Cadillac Williams could be joining the Alabama staff at some point. I don't see it. It could happen, I suppose. Crazier things have happened. I do think it would be high comedy. Also, the conspiracy theorist in me would want to keep a sharp eye on him. Because I want to be sure, because let's face it.
Oh, you worry about a double agent situation.
Cadillac is a bug, and that's okay. I'm not mad at him about it. I'm not. I would hope that if he were to be hired, that who was the former Auburn linebacker who came to Alabama a few years ago from Huntsville?
James Willis. Willis. Yeah, I got to know James when he was at Alabama. And he's a great guy. I was a big fan of him, and he did a good job in the brief time he was at Alabama.
So, Auburn people essentially disowned him, and I've already seen some posts about, hey, no true Auburn man would go over there. Give me a break. I mean, it's a business now. All that stuff's out the window. Nobody's going to be burning Letterman's jackets anymore, like Wayne Hall did back in the day. That's just not going to happen. I found it interesting. I'm not. Let's tend like we're in fantasy land. Okay. Let's tend like this is a possibility, and let's tend like it actually happens. So, do I think Cadillac Williams would be a good hire on the Alabama staff? Long answer, yes with a but. Short answer, no with an if. So I'm just not – that's a Simpsons quote. I'm Revlon Lovejoy, to be specific. I'm okay with it. I think that Cadillac is a huge name in the state of Alabama, just a monster.
Yep.
I mean, high school legend, Auburn legend, obviously. I just don't know. I guess I could get behind it. Certainly. I mean, if it happened, I'd be like, yeah, okay. It's not like I'm anti this. It's not like hiring Stan White to coach the quarterbacks. I would be anti that. But hiring Cadillac, if he were to coach running backs and do some recruiting, I'm on board, but I'm also not frothing at the mouth for it.
Well, I would want to know, of course, I would start with, okay, what position we talk about, bringing him in? Is he going to be the running back coach and Coach G is leaving, or is this what I would assume is more of the NFLization of college football and our staff by bringing Carnell in to be the assistant to the running back coach? I think that would be a great add myself, just in the sense that he would be sort of almost overqualified for that spot, because I think Carnell is certainly capable of being the running back coach for an SEC football team. I think he did a really nice job when he was promoted to interim head coach at Auburn, in the sense that he really rallied the troops over there. I think he got them to play as a team and got them to play harder. And if that's some sort of a look into what he's capable of as a coach, I think he would be a good add to the running back room. Again, I would like it, especially as assistant to the running back coach. I still think Coach Gillespie is a good coach. Now we're giving Coach Gillespie some real talent with E.J. Crowell and A.K. Deere, and I want to see what Gillespie can do with the Crowell and Deere type talents. So I would be fine with Carnell. I don't revel in it doesn't bother me that he's an Auburn legend of sorts. Again, in part because I did get to know James Willis when he was at Alabama, and I really liked him, and I thought he did a great job. And so gosh, the only thing that will hurt me about is I wanted Alabama to sign Carnell so bad back in 2003. I'm that old. I remember Carnell's recruitment extremely well, and I was crushed when he ended up ultimately choosing Auburn over Alabama back then. I'll be like, great, now we get Carnell. Now Carnell's 40. We finally get Carnell. But I'll be all right with it. Assistant to the running back, if that's how it plays out, if at all.
So he could either be assistant regional manager or assistant to the regional manager.
Assistant to the regional.
Or assistant.
Not the assistant manager. Yeah, Dwight Schrute. Yeah, not assistant manager. Assistant to the manager.
Yeah. Boy, that was such a great bit. I've watched so many Offices, though. I've got to back off of all Office stuff. Yeah. So let's talk about the Super Bowl just for a second. Awful. I didn't mind. I mean, look, I know a lot of people talked about halftime. I didn't mind the halftime thing. Yeah, I couldn't understand what he was saying because I don't speak Spanish. But I understand. But just as a marketing guy, I understand what the NFL was doing, reaching a broader audience, going more global. I mean, pretty soon the NFL is just going to have teams in other galaxies. I mean, they're just going to get.
Yeah, so American football is not as popular throughout Latin America as baseball and soccer, yeah. and that is that's gonna help grow the sport in an area that they need. And he's the number one downloaded streamed artist on the planet, so it's not crazy to have him at the biggest sports event on the planet.
And I know some people hated it, and I know some people. It was a fine halftime. I thought the production was pretty incredible, like the camera work and stuff like that. And to get all that stuff out on the field and then get it off the field
how they do bananas. That is nuts without damaging the field.
Yeah. I mean, how would you like to, you're just sitting in your office and they're like, okay, we need you to put together a halftime show. It's going to have Bad Bunny. It's going to have a bunch of people dressed as giant ferns. And it's going to have him collapsing through a roof at some point. It's going to have, he's going to be carrying a coconut that looks like a football or a football that looks like a coconut most of the time. And you've got to make sure the sound quality is incredible. You're going to have dancers. You're going to have Jessica Alba, and you're going to have
Ronald Acuna,
Pedro Pascal. You're going to have. We're getting Ricky Martin, and then that's the one you go, Ricky Martin. Yeah, I mean, you got Ricky Martin.
He's a thing down there. He's still a thing.
You can't damage the field.
Yeah, and that's crazy.
So get back to me in a week and let me know your plan. That's when I'd quit. But it's. I thought it was fine. I mean, again, the only thing about people who know me know I'm a big Prince fan. No better halftime show in the history of halftime shows.
I totally agree. Yeah, Prince is the best halftime show of all time.
Some people don't know this, but they were like, "Hey, Prince, it's going to rain, and you're out on a slippery stage in high heels for some reason, and you're playing an electric guitar in a storm. And what do you want us to do?" He said, "Can you make it rain harder?" I mean, that's downtown. That is offering Eddie Murphy pancakes after beating him in basketball.
Dave Chappelle show.
But it was Charlie Murphy and Eddie Murphy. But anyway, the Super Bowl was kind of, I mean, Anthony Jennings played pretty well. I didn't notice. I don't know if Oots did anything. I didn't notice him.
He's banged up. He was hurt.
Yeah. I didn't notice Jaron Reed. Did you?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he played. He wasn't standing out. I think Anthony Jennings.
Barmore was okay.
Yeah, I think Jennings had the biggest impact of the Alabama guys in the game. But I didn't think it was one of the. Here's the thing about when you play the Super Bowl. I think people are hoping that it's the best game of the year, and it hardly ever is. It's just another NFL game, and in that sense, I thought it was fine. Both those defenses are elite. Especially Seattle, true deserving world champion, easily the best team in the NFL from start to finish this year, the Seattle Seahawks. But I wouldn't say I was wildly entertained by the game, but to me it was just another NFL game. And I think the Patriots with Drake May, they'll be back at some point. But great. I thought Sam Darnold's such a good story, and just disappointed that it's all in. That was the last call for football, as our sponsor FanDuel was saying through as a great line. And now we're in the offseason, and I say we're in the true offseason. Today, as we record this Monday, it is just 28 days. Daniel Hill is the 28th ranked player on the roster. Just 28 days, and Alabama will be practicing on the field for the 2026 season. So it's the offseason. It's only going to last 4 weeks for now.
Going to talk a little Wayfair now. The new year is here. In fact, it's already February. And it's the perfect time to reset your routine and refresh your space. If you're spending more time at home, you might as well love how it looks and feels. That's why you should turn to Wayfair. It's a one-stop shop for getting your home back on track, yo. Wayfair has everything you need from a full home refresh all in one place. Whether you're updating your living room, organizing your space, or upgrading your work from home setup, Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find exactly what works for your style and your budget. I picked up new bedding and accent pillows from Wayfair, and it completely changed how my bedroom feels. It's cleaner, it's calmer, it's more put together. Love me some Wayfair. Get organized, refreshed, and back on track this year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Wayfair is the way to go. Now, how about some Indeed? Yeah, baby. Indeed. Indubitably. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed Sponsored Jobs is the move. Because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post like a sucker, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to the people who fit your specific criteria like skills and certifications and location. If I were hiring, I wouldn't just want somebody who can help. I'd want somebody with real experience who can jump right in. And here's a stat that says it all, baby. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to the Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to help you get your premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply because they apply to everything. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. Jimmy Stein. Okay, so basketball-wise, Jimmy, we talked about Alabama's big win over Auburn. It was a big win. Look, it's not a season changer or anything, but it's a big win. Going into that place and winning is a big deal. It's not easy, and Alabama did it. They did it. They were trailing by as many as 10, maybe even 12 at one point, and they come all the way back and they fought through. Now the waiting game begins on the Charles Bediako stuff. What is your gut feeling right now?
Gut feeling is ineligible. Gut feeling is the judge sides with the NCAA. I won't be upset if it happens. I'm not. This I guess is a terrible attitude to have. But it's just real. If Charles ruled in, I won't care because again, I don't think any of these guys should be playing. I mean, that's the way I look at it, and I'll just be like, well, I won't be upset because, again, I don't think any of them should be eligible. Now, if he is eligible, will I be excited for Alabama?
Mm-hmm.
It makes us a better team. We're a better team with Charles playing. We'll continue to be the heel. We'll continue to be the bad guy. And I wouldn't say that it bothers me because we haven't done anything wrong, and Charles hasn't done anything wrong. But I don't look forward to that. I don't particularly like being the bad guy. But I won't feel strongly about it either way. Again, because I think Charles winning sort of benefits Alabama, but at the same time, I won't feel like we were robbed if it doesn't happen because I don't think any of these guys should be eligible.
I'm with you. I've gone back and forth gut feeling wise on this in terms of I get it why he shouldn't be. I also am like, hey, man, what an interesting hill for everybody to die on. And I think the other thing is my gut also tells me that he's going to be ruled eligible, at least for the time being, because there's so many. This would affect everybody else, I would assume. You tell me, you're the lawyer, but I would assume this would affect Amari Bailey. This could somehow affect the Baylor guy. I don't know. This
not by legal precedent. There wouldn't be like a state court somewhere else doesn't have to follow a state court ruling elsewhere, but it will be used in those courts as, hey, this is what happened in the Bediako case in Alabama, but it's not precedent that makes a judge bound to follow the order.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't know. I'll tell you this. We need him more than I thought. I mean, we've been better without Noah Williamson on the court. No offense to Noah Williamson. I've said it before. I think he understands he's in over his head. We've done a good job of figuring out how to use him. We don't put him and Sherelle in there at the same time much at all, if any. And I think it's better for us to have four dudes who are 3-point threats. Now, Sherelle is too when he's in there, but four dudes who are 3-point threats and one big man. I think that has worked out very nicely for us, especially with Amari Allen being healthy again, hitting the boards well. So my fingers are crossed it works. I'm not going to count on it. I mean, this is gambling money. This is go to the casino, not with your rent money. Go with some extra money, some discretionary income. And if you win, fantastic. But if you lose, you're not hurt. And that's what I think this is, because I know Auburn people keep saying, well, we'll get that win back. No, Alabama's not forfeiting that win, or that's just not happening. That's not going to be.
It's in the first court's order, their initial ruling. And secondly, Charlie Baker himself, the NCAA president, has said himself that in situations like these, you can't punish a team for winning in court. They won in court. So Bediako was an eligible player to play in those games. Alabama did not break any rules. Therefore, you can't punish Alabama. So Alabama's not going to vacate any of these wins. I do think, Luke, and again, This angers me. When I do get moved to anger over this or high emotion, is I do think people out there, whether it's the seeding process and the NCAA, the media, voting in the poll, I think because of Bediako playing in these games so far, and particularly if he continues to play, Alabama might get punished by the committee, or because national sentiment is so against Bediako being eligible. It might even hurt Alabama's seeding. And as much as people would say, oh, they can't do that, I don't know.
That is completely arbitrary. So, I mean, they can do it. But I'm not going to sweat that.
Some of the national guys have called on them to do it. They're like, don't let Alabama in. Don't even let Alabama in. I don't think that's going to happen. But I mean, we could end up with the seed a little lower than maybe they've earned.
I would say this, that if they were to do that, I would be willing to bet Alabama would have a case then, a legal case for damages in terms of, hey, this is a lot of money on the line, and you're holding this against. This is a punishment which goes against the TRO. So that's what I would think. Now, again, you're the law talking guy. You tell me.
Well, so I mean, if Alabama has earned a 4th seed and they're instead given the 6th seed, I mean,
I'm saying if they were left out.
Also, if they're left out, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I would hate that it would come to that, but I mean, when you clearly, absolutely, under every precedent ever set in NCAA history, deserve to be in the tournament, and you're left out because of a court ruling, that is a punish. And I would imagine the judge's order, if the judge grants Bediako's eligibility, the order is going to spell out that Alabama cannot be Alabama can't be punished, or Charles can't be punished for playing. That's the way the order may be drawn up. Today? My guess is yes, but I was kind of expecting a ruling on Friday. The fact that the judge wanted to take all weekend to think about it, certainly interesting.
All right, that's going to do it for today's pod. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.